Good afternoon, everyone. Today is August 18th. My name is Dave Livingston. I'm the president of Lewis University, and I'm really excited to be joined by Dr. Christopher Sint, our provost here, for the third season of Conversations from Stritch. It is really wonderful to be back. I hope that everyone watching and everyone who will watch in the coming weeks had a wonderful summer that was relaxing and rewarding. Hopefully you got a little time away. We know also that there's many of you students, faculty, and staff who worked all summer, taught classes, prepped new classes, did research, took summer classes. So we hope it was a mixed summer full of new ideas as well as a little bit of relaxation. We do want to say that we are really excited about everybody coming back. This week, there's a growing energy on campus in terms of the students being back, faculty being back, coaches coaching, trainers working on people who have injuries, all of those kinds of things. The RAs are back, the leaders of all of our clubs and organizations are starting to come back, so it's really, really a great time. I do want to talk about a few of the changes that have happened over the summer. There's a whole list of things that we have done over the summer. There's so much to discuss, and we're going to take a little time at the beginning to do that. So you will notice for many of you, and there's a few, I just saw one on the way over, that the brown signs are being replaced by red signs. So the campus signage is underway. Many of those red signs don't have anything on them, but they will, so don't be worried about that. The Fitzpatrick Residence Hall that everybody has loved for many decades is being demolished. It's about 2/3 of the way down. So you can see here some of the real devastation going on. And I love this picture. Fitz is dead, long live Fitz. You know, we had our alumni here on campus in the spring, and they were able to go into the rooms that they lived in and paint on those walls. North Hall renovation, we finished another third of that project, and so new rooms with new bathrooms fully renovated. The university dining room and the faculty dining room have also been redone this summer with new flooring and some new microphones in there, so it's a really upgrade to both of those rooms. Many of you will notice, because we do by the end of winter have a number of potholes that are on campus, that the parking lots and the roads in many sections have been either completely redone or resealed. So we're really grateful for all of that work. There's been chapel renovations, so you know, when you're walking by, make sure you stop into the chapel and see that. The Gaffney Center has both a new area for welcoming people into the center, as well as new delivery boxes on the back of the first floor. So if you get a box delivered, a package delivered from your mom and dad in the first couple weeks, some cookies or something, you can go to the first floor of the Gaffney Center and get your box. So so many exciting things. We did have a sad event that happened this summer as well. Brother Larry Olschlegel passed away on August 1st. He was a Christian brother for 58 years and a member of the Lewis faculty for 30 years. A really great colleague and friend, and so many of us will miss him. And we're really sad to see his passing, and we remember him in our prayers. In addition to the start of the academic year and all that comes with that, we do in about a month have our Signum Fidei event, which is our signature fundraising event for the Mission Fund, which assists our students who have it's usually for people who have a really serious event happen in their life, often the death of a parent, the loss of a job, and this fund helps to get them through usually their junior or senior year. This event is happening this year in a new venue at the House of Blues in downtown Chicago. We hope to raise about $300,000 for the Mission Fund that evening, so we hope you can join us on Saturday night, September 24th. If you haven't purchased your tickets, please do so soon. We look forward to seeing you there. So I'm going to now hand it over to Chris, who's going to talk about all sorts of other things that have been going on campus in the last 2 months.
Thank you, and hello everyone. It's great to be here. It is a little overwhelming listening to all those things that you just mentioned, both good and sad, that happened over the summer here on campus. And it's been a great summer of lots of achievements on campus, and thinking about all those improvements to the campus. I think it'll be really noticeable if you have not been here. And also our studio is a little
it is
changed,
upgraded. It looks beautiful
as well. So thank you, John Fitzpatrick, for the work getting us started on a great foot in the beginning of the year. So I'm going to say some news, and we're both going to share this a little bit because we have a lot of news that happened over the summer. We had 4 students on campus from the Universidad de La Salle in Bogota, Colombia, here on campus over the summer. They participated in a week-long experience on campus with 4 of our own Lewis students, focusing on microbial community analysis of soil samples. The research is really a result of collaboration between Dr. Jerry Kavoris, a Lewis professor of biology, and Dr. Rosalina Gonzalez from the Universidad de La Salle, who is a professor of environmental and sanitary engineering there. Those 2 professors have been collaborating for several years now through the LaSallian network. She has been to campus a couple summers ago to do research with Dr. Kavoris, and now this is a great result of that long-term collaboration between 2 professors at 2 LaSallian universities. So we love that. It was great to meet them when they were here over the summer. We were also both pleased last week. I presume you were pleased. I was pleased to attend the James Gerard Summer Undergraduate Research Program's final day of presentation by student researchers. So the Gerard Summer Research Program is a collaborative experience for Lewis students from multiple disciplines in the sciences and health sciences to engage in undergraduate research over the summer. So it's a 10-week program that brings students from biology, chemistry, computer science, mathematics, engineering, physics, and nursing and health sciences together to discuss topics like research ethics, data analysis methods, scientific writing, resume building, and presentation skills, which is really what we saw was their final end of the summer presentations, in addition to doing one-on-one or focused research with a faculty mentor. So the projects this year focused on a range of research questions that our faculty are primarily working on, ranging from Alzheimer's to COVID to speech impairments and so many other things. It was really, really amazing to watch the presentation skills of the students, as well as the discoveries that they were making with their faculty. So thank you to Dr. Brittany Stevenson for her leadership of the SHORE program this summer. The Lewis Aviation had a really strong presence in the 2022 Experimental Aircraft Association's fly-in, held in Oshkosh, Wisconsin from July 25th to 31st. It's billed as the world's greatest aviation celebration and attracted participants from 80 countries, over 80 countries, to celebrate the world of flight. And during the event, Lewis University signed an agreement with a company called Frasca for 3 new flight simulators that will be delivered, or have been delivered to campus, and will be operational for the beginning of the term. These training devices enhance flight training with the ability to mirror our Cessna and Piper airplanes. So it allows students to have a really realistic experience. I haven't actually been over there to see it yet. I think we'll be able to check it out soon. But apparently it has an amazingly realistic experience of being in a cockpit of one of our 2 airplanes that we normally take into the air. So students can get more flight hours more quickly and combine that with flying, obviously, in order to advance more quickly through the program. So that's really great news and great collaboration with Frasca.
That's great. So a few more congratulatory remarks, but I just want to comment. So for those, because we know we have many students, faculty, staff who love aviation, the Chicago Air and Water Show is also this weekend. So if you missed Oshkosh, you didn't get up there, different vibe to the Chicago show than the Oshkosh show, but still fun to be out there. So I want to say congratulations to Dr. Mike McFerrin, professor of music, whose music composition, transition, and apotheosis was selected through a peer-juried process for inclusion in the Society Composers, Inc. 35th volume CD series distributed by Parma Recordings. The Society Composers is a professional society with approximately 1,500 members, and it's dedicated to the promotion, performance, understanding, and dissemination of new and contemporary music. Dr. McFerrin is really a leader in a certain aspect of contemporary music in terms of composition, and he continues to receive awards and get his work put into different programs. So congratulations, Mike. Lewis University Foreign Language Program was awarded a $355,000 Project Global Officer Grant from the Defense Language and National Security Education Office of the United States Department of Defense. Lewis and the Commonwealth of the University of Pennsylvania and the University of Georgia were selected to provide domestic 8-week intensive proficiency-based instruction in beginning Russian that totals 200 hours of academic hours for the 28 nationally recruited ROTC cadets. The goal of the project is to prepare future military officers to serve in countries with Russian-speaking populations and to communicate with local population and their foreign counterparts in military and peacekeeping operations while serving the nation overseas. It is a really great program. I mean, given everything that's going on in the world, and we're all so aware of what's going on in Ukraine and Russia, and we've gone through these moments where different languages seem more, really important, but few people study them. This is just another way in which Lewis is participating on a global scale in terms of preparing the world for what we really believe can be a peaceful future. But talking is central to be able to doing that. So communication is key.
And may I brag on Lewis's behalf a little bit? I mean, University of Pennsylvania and Georgia are the only other recipients of this grant. So it really speaks to our long tradition of strength in both Russian language instruction, which is a real strength here, as well as a strong ROTC and active military and veterans community at Lewis. So it's a really great combination of many of our strengths. So we were delighted to receive that grant.
Well, and I think sometimes you and I, we just there's so much going on campus. Sometimes I think we don't point that out when we, I guess for lack of a better word, kind of punch above our weight in certain areas. And we really do that. I think about the Legacies of American Slavery grant, this grant on, Russian language, certain of our sports. There's just lots of ways in which we really, amazing people that work here and students and their work. So one more thing, we are delighted to announce that we have hired a new women's basketball coach, Keisha Newell. Newell comes from Mother McCauley High School, where she was the assistant athletic director and head girls basketball coach since 2019. Newell was the head women's basketball coach at Roosevelt University from 2015 to 2019. In 2011 to 2014, she was the assistant women's basketball coach and recruiting coordinator at Loyola University in Chicago. She was also the director of basketball operations at Loyola from December of 2010 to May of 2011. Newell competed at the Division I level for Loyola, where she graduated in 2010 with a degree in business administration, and then added a master's degree in organizational development in 2018 at Roosevelt. So we're really excited to welcome Coach Newell. I think she's going to be an amazing addition to our already impressive coaching staff, and so we're really excited to have her. So now we have to turn back to a topic that actually started the show 3 years ago. So I'll turn it over to Chris again.
Yeah, thank you. I do have some announcements to make regarding COVID-19. We don't plan on talking about it every week necessarily going into the future, and we will continue to monitor our community's impact by COVID as we go and make announcements along the way. But I haven't talked about it in quite a long time. It's over the summer, so I have a few updates to make, and I will be sending out an email this afternoon with all of the same information. So something I'm really excited about is that we're transitioning really from having a COVID hotline team to a new name and a new group called the Healthy Campus Resource Team. And that, allows us to both emphasize education, community awareness. It allows us to broaden our interest in health and continued public health beyond COVID and other things as they come up. So it's really the creation of a new resource team, and I'm really excited. The email is there now if you would like to contact them, and again, this will go out later on my email. So a couple updates. We continue to recommend that people are up to date with vaccines. It's a mask-friendly campus unless otherwise posted. That really refers primarily to vaccine clinics, and the health center on campus still require masks. So keep your mask handy. Continue to use the My Lewis app for COVID-19 vaccine status and to self-report COVID-19 test, and then resident students need to use the COVID-19 app to report their test results. And then just to be really clear about resident students. So resident students at Lewis need to submit their vaccination status and test within and a negative test within 48 hours prior to move-in. That can be an at-home test. It just needs to be taken before the move-in happens, and then submitted through the app. Testing is available on campus and is recommended if you are not up to date, and visitors need to continue to submit a health screening going forward into the fall. You may have heard about the new CDC guidelines that have come out regarding COVID, and so I just wanted to clarify a couple things about how that relates to us. You need to isolate from others when you have COVID-19. That continues to be pretty much the same or exactly the same as before, but quarantining after exposure is no longer required. So instead, you need to continue to wear a high-quality mask and monitor symptoms for 10 full days, get a test on day 6, and get tested if symptoms develop before day 6. So putting all this together, if you get COVID and test positive, you still need to report it to the app, and you will talk to somebody, from the new team that will give you those same guidelines that I just mentioned. So they will give you guidance about masking and testing on day 6 and so on. So all of that, essentially, the most important thing is if you get COVID, report it to the app. And the rest will kind of fall into place from there.
And the distinction we're making is, because I felt like some of us, because we haven't talked about it as much lately, the big distinction is if you have COVID, you need to report it and isolate. If you've been exposed to COVID, you don't need to quarantine, because quarantine is about exposure, not having the disease. But you need to wear a mask, you need to stay at a social distance, and we're really...
And test.
And we're really, the focus is on how do we maintain a healthy community, right? I mean, to go back to what this new team, we're in a different mode, but it's really important that we work together and we think about the other person. So if you've been exposed, be really conscious of making sure that you get tested and keep at a distance, wear a mask, but you can still go to class. Just be cautious about, wash your hands, do all that kind of stuff that we've all learned to do better. That's now.
Right. And
go ahead.
We have those COVID rules, and we have a really incredibly vibrant campus, as you said, full of people already doing stuff on campus. So it's such an exciting time to be here, and we're so pleased today to introduce today's guests, Esther Kraft, who is the Director for Student Involvement and Multicultural Initiatives, and Toni Fitzpatrick for a return performance, third time, I think, if we're counting, who is the Director of Academic Services. And they're really here to talk about Welcome Week specifically, which is next week. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Good to be here.
We're excited to have you on the show.
So there's so much going on. It's a little overwhelming. I hear people today, and the last week or so, say, "Oh, have you seen the calendar for Welcome Week? It's really overwhelming unless you need to spend some time with it and really work on it. So we wanted to kind of give you a chance to remind people what it is, what it's for, and so on. And I think we have some visuals or some PowerPoint slides to kind of get us started, and then we can just kind of talk about the nuances.
So so Welcome Week is for our first year students
Well, it's
and
for,
transfers.
so
And us.
it's for everybody.
Oh, right. Okay. All right. So this is why I love it. So correct me.
Yes,
It's for everybody.
This is perfect. Well, there's events that are for everybody.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So current students, new students, faculty, staff, they can come out for some events and things. And then there is kind of a track of it that is for our brand new flyers. So our freshmen and our transfers that are in Cornerstone.
And I guess what I meant by that is it's a way for us, and we do want to all, as many people as can attend, to welcome them into our
Yes.
community.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's about that, the people that have been here and the people that are new, and how do we get to know each other and these events. So give us some sense of some of these events. I mean, we have a lot going on, and I'm excited about the final day.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm excited about all of it, but I'm especially excited.
Can we maybe show some of it because it's so complicated that it might be good to talk all the way through it. And we're
Oh,
going to
sure.
end.
Yeah, we'll get to the events.
We're going
That's
to end
good.
with the events. I
Yeah,
think.
all right.
Yeah.
All right. So this is just kind of touching on orientation broadly. What's the point? What's the goal? Which is really all about what you're saying, connecting with our students, our newest students, and getting them connected to us, helping them get situated with, where's this, where's that, how do I register for classes? So one of the things that we've accomplished already is new flyer registration days. So that's when students over the summer have been going and meeting with their advisor virtually. So we've had 9 programs. Today is 1. So there's students. Our last group coming through is going through that right now. So about 1,000 students have come through that program. It's gone really well. We've had about 150 advisors participating all summer long, which has been wonderful. And then the other thing that we've been doing through the summer to kind of continue with the orientation, and you could jump to the next slide, to kind of continue providing students and families information. And what I just recently realized is kind of like in a bite-sized format. Sometimes orientation can be overwhelming, like information overload. So the nice thing, we've had these new flyer nights, which have been the last 4 Wednesday evenings virtually. So we've touched on a variety of topics, talking about how to pay for college, how to make the most of your financial aid, how to get connected on campus, academic support. And then just last night, we talked to students about how to use Blackboard, how to check their email, like some of those logistical things that when you're new, the students were in the chat asking like, is this like Google Classroom or, and so it was it was a really good night. So we've had those nights all since the end of July, and we've had about 200 students attend those.
That's great.
And we kind of incentivized it with a raffle. So students who attended all 4, we told them they would be entered into a raffle for a backpack full of stuff to get them ready for the first day. So I was thinking we could do that now.
Let's do it.
Does that sound
Let's
good?
do it.
What kind of stuff?
Yeah, what's in
So-
there?
Expect.
What
Yeah.
might I get?
Okay, so
You did not
of
go to
course, of course, pencils, pens, notebooks, folders, a Lewis lanyard, a Lewis cup, winter hat, headphones.
Do we have winter here at Lewis? I thought it's always like this. Like it's so beautiful out
Part of the
today.
orientation process. So yeah, it's a bag full of good stuff and a backpack. It's in a backpack. So
Wonderful.
it'll get students set up for.
So as of last
So-
night, we have finalists because it was the last time to qualify.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
So there were 14 students that came to all 4, and they were very proud of themselves along
They
the
should
way.
be, yeah.
So they were
So-
using the chat to let us know.
We're picking one.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Okay. These are the names.
Oh, look at
Oh,
you.
Lord.
You just
A
threw
little too excited.
Samantha Jones out or whatever.
She's back in.
All right, she's back in.
Yep.
Here we go. Live on air.
Live.
We have.
I'm so excited.
I need to get my glasses.
Just give
on.
it to
I can't read
Toni
this.
and she can.
Oh, all
Well,
right.
I think you should.
Oh
read
yeah,
it.
you should.
Yeah.
Yumna Mansouri.
All
Okay.
right.
So Yumna, you're the winner.
We will let her
Awesome.
know.
We will be in touch with
Congratulations.
All
her.
right.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Not only
Yumna.
does she get all this great stuff, she also learned a huge amount by
Yes.
coming. to
Yes. Yes.
And she was active all summer long,
Awesome.
which is amazing.
Yeah, no, it's and I love what you said about the bite-sized pieces, and maybe just as another thing to mention, and maybe you will also say this, but I feel like the first month on campus, there's also this sense of try not to get overwhelmed, right? So go to things, but you don't have to go to everything all the time for, certain people need a little space.
Yeah.
And then they might say, week 2 they have this, and everybody's going out, but I'm gonna take a little time for myself, but take enough bites, so to speak, to really begin to know the community, right? But
Yeah.
we can do that in that on again, off again way to kind of get to know people.
Yeah.
So you said this, Toni, but and when you were here before last time, we kind of was before the summer, and so we've had, and we're not evaluating it yet, but this was sort of a new cool thing that we did, to do these bite-sized pieces, to have registration days that were virtual and so on. So, and today was the last one.
Yep.
I was very pleased to give my 9th welcome.
You should be in the raffle.
Yeah, that's
you
right.
should.
I actually didn't show up at all 9 of them, so
Right.
I'm not
Disqualified.
qualify. But anyway, so how does it feel, at this point, in terms of the vision of how it all fits together?
I think it's too soon to tell. So we definitely have, the students have gone through registration, and that's a major accomplishment, that we're able to get them registered for the courses that they wanted to take and meet with their advisor and have that initial one-on-one meeting. But I think when we'll really know is after next week, when we feel the momentum and kind of how that will lead into the start of the very first week of classes. I think that's the beauty of the new model is, orientation, that real energizing community building time is happening right before the start of classes. And I think it's kind of going to be a launching pad. So registration has gone wonderfully, and all the technology has worked well, and it's amazing to see how COVID pushed us to innovate in this way. But I think we'll have a better sense of it after next week.
So for those of us who weren't a faculty advisor and weren't a student, was this a Zoom meeting between a faculty advisor and student? How did this happen? And then how do they transition that? Like, will they meet them live in person next week, for instance?
Yes. So students, yes, it was on Zoom. So all the students were together in one Zoom session for the provost welcome and hear from financial aid and business office, and get a sense of the orientation experience. So we kind of went over that with them. And then from there, they logged off that Zoom, and then they received an email with their advisor's name, new Zoom link, time, and so they hopped on there.
Perfect.
And then at the same time, there's an advisor support room in another Zoom room, virtual space, where the advisors can pop in during advising and get support, which again, it's happening right now. So it's
great.
the machine is going. It's really
It's
good.
going.
And they will get to meet them in person. So next week, part of the 3 days that are planned for Cornerstone, one of them does include an academic connection session. So they will get to meet with their department, and not just the one faculty member they met with necessarily, but other folks too, deans, assistant deans, administrators, staff, current students, and get to see the spaces and things.
So can I ask a really
Please.
broad question? There are people watching who, are not professionals in this or professors, and there's a lot of details that we talk about a lot, about, show up here, do this thing, we think you should do this, show up for the events that we're going to talk about in a minute. We know why people go to orientation to register, because you need to be registered in the fall to go to class. But what else, why do we do all this other stuff? You can.
I can speak to
That's
that,
a
I
really
guess.
hard question, but
So in terms of my piece and all of our departments that work together for Welcome Week, we put on an array of events and experiences this coming week to have students connect to each other, their peers, staff, to connect to our campus for those that are new, to get to know the buildings and our beautiful campus, and then lastly to just have fun, to maybe find there is so much, as you mentioned, there's so much going on, but maybe find your piece that you might want to try just to relax, to get to know people, to get to know campus before you hit the books.
Yeah.
So that's why we offer, and there's so many people and departments involved in putting on a really robust schedule. So we're really happy to be able to do that. This year we've got some new things going on, and we hope that the students really like it. So I can if you want to put the slide up, I can actually talk to a couple of key points, if that's okay.
Sure.
Absolutely.
So we will start on Wednesday of Welcome Week with a commuter scavenger hunt. So we want to make sure that our commuters feel included in this whole process. And then we are also going to have a movie night for all of our incoming students. It will be Elvis, the movie, and that'll be outside, weather permitting. So we'll have all the kind of bells and whistles for that event as well. And on Thursday, we actually, in keeping in mind with our LaSallian Foundation, we're going to be having a community service project. So students can sign up to go to Feed My Starving Children to pack lunches. So we'll have a bus, an LU bus going out to Feed My Starving Children in a raw on Thursday. So we're looking forward to that. That's a little new. We have a DIY for those students who might be interested in that. It's a lucky bamboo planter, and it is, I'm told, something that you can't kill and that will last and do really well in a dorm room. So let's hope that happens.
So they plant their bamboo and decorate it, and then they bring it back to their room.
Absolutely. Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
And something else live in their room.
There you go. And to grow. New beginnings, right? And then what we also have, so on Thursday, actually I'll flip to Friday, we've got a cardboard regatta race. So the rec center, that'll be at the rec pool. Students can pick up supplies, and then we will actually have a race at 3:30. So that, I'm told, that's kind of a returning event, but I'm told is a very popular classic event, a great picture op moment. So that's happening. We also have a mentalist magician coming to the Studio Theater on Friday evening. Looking forward to that. And on Saturdays, our really, really big day. It's our welcome carnival for everyone new returning. We have kind of the same format of a carnival in terms of inflatables and games and prizes and all that, but we also have 4 different food trucks coming, which the students really like. We tried getting a variety in there, and then I'm really, really happy to share that we will also be having our own fireworks show to really culminate, Welcome Week and say, hey, welcome to Lewis. We're happy you're here. Great luck this semester. And so that'll be in front of the Student Center on the Student Center lawn. So we'll have that Saturday night.
That's really great.
So who is allowed to go to the carnival and the fireworks?
So any of our students, certainly any of our students, new, continuing, transfer, commuter, everybody's welcome to come to those events.
Can I go?
Of course. staff, faculty.
If people have if members of our community have children who love to
watch
look
some
at
fireworks,
fireworks, there's a way for them to drive onto campus and
absolutely.
check them out.
We would love for if you're in the area or not, to bring your family to come and join us for the fireworks or even the carnival. It would be great. It would be nice for the students to see as well. I did want to add, I brought a couple of things. So one other thing we added this year was we designated 4 key events to be swag giveaway events. So therefore, if the students attend, let's say the first 100, 150 students will receive LU swag. So if it's okay, I'm going to show a couple things. This is a waste bag that students will receive, the first, like I said, 100, 150, with LU on it. And this is one of our other giveaways, which is really representing our birthday, our 90th birthday this year. Cheers to 90 years. So we have 2 other things. Yeah, it's a tie-dye one. And the students were excited about those. And so those will be some of the things that we will give out.
Very good.
For students who participate in some of the key events that I talked about earlier.
So this is a kind of integrated week, though, and you mentioned Cornerstone earlier. So there's these fun events, and I'm not saying Cornerstone's not fun, but there's some reflective moments, right? So there's like getting to know each other, potential, new friends in my orientation group, in my Cornerstone class. But could you describe what the Cornerstone class is, what we're trying to achieve through that? It starts this week, extends, but it's this, there's lots of things going on in Welcome Week that are for me, really integrated, and Cornerstone is one of them.
Yeah, sure. There is a slide on this. If you want to pull it up, the visual may help. So yeah, as you said, it kind of ties in with everything Esther's described. So you could see the dates. The 24th, 25th, and 26th are the days that students will be here for those initial Cornerstone Seminar meetings during Welcome Week. The timing of those is perfect. So if you're moving onto campus the morning of the 24th, you'll go to Cornerstone in the afternoon. If you're commuting, you'll just come onto campus. That commuter scavenger hunt is beforehand, so it kind of all ties in really nicely. So those 3 days have themes. You see them there. Our first day is going to be all about building the community, getting students to know one another and kind of what this community is all about. And then we'll move into the second day, which is going to be filled with Lewis traditions. So New Flyer Convocation will happen. That'll be the opportunity for students to connect with their academic departments. And then Friday's first week prep. So all those sessions will be about getting them ready. So they'll get to walk around with their schedule. They'll get to check out Blackboard again, talk about their goals for the first semester, first year. So it's going to be a great 3 days, and it ties in just right next to what Esther just described in terms of fun events and things to do after. So this will be fun, as you said. This will be fun, and then there'll be more fun. Right. So those are the initial meetings for Cornerstone for all our freshmen, some of our transfers, and then the course does meet throughout the first semester, and that just varies a touch based on if you're a freshman or transfer. But the idea is again to kind of pace the information and support and community building through the whole first semester, so that we kind of front load it during Welcome Week, and then it goes the entire semester. So that's a little bit about Cornerstone.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great, as to the pun intended, it's a foundation for their time, and we're putting that cornerstone down so that they kind of have a firm foundation, make a few friends, get to know a faculty or a staff member who is teaching Cornerstone. There's always a student in each Cornerstone class, right, as a kind of, I don't know, we call them a mentor. What do we call them?
So, well, the instructors are called first year mentors, and then this year we have New Flyer guides, which is kind of, for faculty and staff, it's a new version of an orientation leader. For new students and parents, it's just a peer who's going to be there with you for the whole first year.
Yeah, that's great. So is there anything you just mentioned, so every time you mention something pops into my head. So what should we say to parents? I mean, what do the two of you want to say to parents that might be watching? What should they expect? When do we want to get rid of them? I always felt that when I dropped my kids off. Well, I can, because I was there, and I often, I help with move-in, and I know how hard it is. It's a really challenging thing for many parents. But what are the messages, if they just have 2 minutes, what are the messages you want to give to parents?
I think something that I've been thinking about as I think about parents, and we talked a little bit about this, is how emotional a time this is. So I was thinking about how much I've been thinking about their students in these months leading up to now. So I think for them to know that so many of us on this campus have been thinking of your students and planning for your students, and are so excited to be able to help them get settled and situated here. So that's the first thing I think, is just we've been thinking about your students for so long, and just planning for them. And then I think the second thing is, there'll be an opportunity for parent orientation the day of move-in. So if parents want to stick around and get information, they can do that. They've also been in those New Flyer nights too. So that's a great opportunity for them to gather up some of that information. And then, it'll be time to say goodbye for those students that are living on campus, and just trust that we will be here to support their student through the ups, the downs, and that, we want to work with the parents and support them, because we know this is a big transition for them and for our students.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you very much. That's really great.
So what if I if I think of myself as an introvert and I'm hearing this, and we are super excited about all these huge events and all the fun that we're talking about. So what would you advise to me if I were feeling that way?
From my perspective, and for what my team works on, we have everything available on our website. So if Welcome Week is not for you, if you're not into being with crowds or a lot of people or anything like that, everything is available. We had a URL on the slide that lists all our events. We have a monthly calendar that's on our web that lists all the student organizations. We have a student fair a little bit later. So student involvement fair, August 31st on the green, with 60 of our orgs or and departments and all of that. So that might be something that somebody might be more comfortable with, that can come and go as they please and still get information.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would recommend.
Yeah.
So, and I guess I want to name two things and then ask you a little bit about these orgs. So I really appreciate, Chris asking that question, and I would just even expand it. We have a little over 600 first-year students direct from high school, another around 400 transfers, so about 1,000 people. Really significant diversity within that, meaning not just
Everything.
introverts, but people who are into what, if you're into skateboarding, or if you're into, esports, or you're into volleyball, or you're into reading poetry, or like to be quiet or do bamboo plantings. There's going to be somebody of those 1,000 students who have a similar interest. So I think the first 10 people you meet you might feel like they're all extroverted, I'm introverted, or vice versa. But give it some time, take small bites, and you're going to meet somebody in this 1,000 new people to our community, as well as, of course, we're a community of over 7,000 people, faculty, staff, and students writ large. So, make sure that people reach out and you'll find somebody who you can really share some common interests with. So the other thing I wanted to say is, could you just name, you don't have to, but 4 or 5 clubs and organizations, just so like people have a sense. So that's going to happen. We're going to talk about it, of course, in Cornerstone. We're going to invite them multiple times. But what are the kinds of things that students can do here?
Sure. So, and everything, we have an active list on the web right now of those 60 active, and we will see more. Students will create new clubs this year, without a doubt. So robotics, Muslim Student Association, Asian American Student Association, esports. We have a nursing group. We have, no, I'm trying to
Do we still
remember,
have,
but
didn't we
sports.
have, like, what is that thing when people do the, medieval, isn't there some,
Dungeons and Dragons?
well, no, I was
Oh.
thinking that we
That
probably have a
probably
club
won't
for that, but I was
happen.
thinking, when they take, foam
Quidditch?
swords, and there's I don't know, there's some
Yeah.
club,
I know
there's
we have
some
a- we have a
group that
Quidditch-
get
we have a
together like
Quidditch-
that, and I don't
Quidditch
remember
club, I
that.
think.
Quidditch club,
Yeah.
there's one like that, yeah. So anyway, there's so many, I guess I just want to, and I want to repeat what you just said, Esther, because some first-year students might come in and they look at the 60, and they're like, but I really loved this when I was in high school. It doesn't exist here. They can start a club.
Absolutely.
So,
Three
reminding people that they
students.
can do that.
Exactly. 3 members and an advisor. And our office, we're open, and we have GAs there. We're there all the time. Our building's open 7 days a week. So, somebody shyer can always come and talk to us if they're not sure what club, or if they want to know, more details about a club.
And I would be really remiss, given this beautiful studio that we're in and the people behind the scenes who are doing the work, to not say that you can have a radio show if you want. You can be on TV like we are if you want. So even if you're
Podcast.
not majoring in radio and TV production, you can have a radio show. So there's
And there's
just
also
so many opportunities.
intramural sports and
Exactly.
that whole range of things as well.
Absolutely. And I think one of the unique things when you asked about parents about Lewis is, our size here, I think, allows for, and I can only speak for myself, I get to know my students better, my GAs better, my staff. I think the size of our school, and I think that that's comforting for parents to know. I would assume it's the same for our staff, our professors, that we get to know our students and a little bit more just deeper because of our size. And it's just, open door policy of our offices and students coming by all the time. And so I think that that's a really comforting and good thing to know for parents as well.
That's great. All right, so we'll wrap up. So any last comments you want to make to either incoming students, anybody, any last things? You don't have to have one. It's not a trick question.
I think I would say, be ready to step outside your comfort zone a bit and kind of stretch into this experience. Certainly if you're an introvert and you need to take some time to yourself, that's okay, but also know that you're gonna maybe do some things you might not always do. And there's going to be lots of growth that will happen from that, lots of learning about yourself and who you'll become over the next 4 or 5 years. So that's what I would say, is just be ready to kind of dig in and make the best of it.
That's great. That's great.
And I would just share that, all of our activities and information, it's on our LU website. We also, students, staff, whoever can follow us on Instagram, Life at Lewis U. And so to just, when you're looking for something to do, please check out those resources so that you can pick and choose what you want to be a part of during the week.
Okay, so we did have a question come in.
Yeah,
I was just going to say.
I just remembered the same thing.
Okay, so I do want to say we didn't say this as many times as we normally do. We're out of practice. It's been 2 months. You got to give us a break, people. But Ask Us at lewisu.edu is the place that you can go not only to ask questions while the show is on. Ask Us at lewisu.edu is a place that you can ask questions really anytime during the week. You get up at 2 in the morning, you want to ask a question, we review it and we will try to answer it the next week. So there's a question that came in about Fitzpatrick. Anybody who's on campus has seen it, it's, again, 2/3 torn down. So what's going to go in its place, Chris? Give me I don't know if you want me to, but we've been in the same meeting. So give me a sense of, and I want to connect it to the clubs and org.
Yes.
So
Fitz is going down. It should be done in October or so. Will be the time when the fence comes down. It will have grass first. There's a picture here on the screen of an idea of something, the type of thing that might go there, like an outdoor, but it will certainly be an outdoor public space for students to congregate, to sit around together in groups, or to study, sit somewhere with your laptop. It might be a place where we also do public events that are outdoor, kind of theater type style, but we're just beginning that conversation about what will go in that spot. But it is really part of a larger effort in our campus master plan to create a really interesting and lively quad all the way from, the Memorial Hall all the way to the Gaffney Center and everything in between. So it'll be a step in that process, and a new thing will go there, but it won't be another building. It will be an open space, public place for for Esther especially, to create programming and community around for our students to engage and be together outside. And it will have fire pits.
it will, because Dr. Livingston wants fire pits. But
So
did you say that at the org fair?
If it does possibly get colder between now and the end of the academic year, we'll still hopefully be able to do stuff outside.
But we're looking for ideas. Did you say that? Because I was looking at,
No,
see if
no,
there's
no.
other questions. So at the org fair, the
Yeah,
architects who are doing the planning for this replacement of Fitz are going to be there with a kind of a booth to take in ideas. So if students say, we want fire pits, we want, cornhole bags. I know different people call it different things. We want this, we want that. We'll be able to take those ideas and then we'll put them together to try to,
That's right.
get ideas. And we'll have an ongoing group that'll have some students and some staff that'll be talking about that. But we're going to use that day as a means of getting in touch of hundreds of students and their ideas for what we might do with the quad. Last
So
minute
we're done.
things.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I have my final comments. So first of all, thank you both so much.
Absolutely.
When we plan these things, it feels like, it's the week before Welcome Week, so they'll be able to come on and talk all day. But we know you're actually working super hard right now.
Yes, a little crazy.
So thank you for taking time out of one of the busiest times of the year for you to talk with us, and for all the great work in designing and carrying out this really exciting thing. And I would say to the students and families that are watching, it is individualized for each person, but it's also, please take advantage of this week, because if we didn't really say it super explicitly, it gets really busy and hard when school starts.
Yes.
And so this is it's a breathing space, however you approach engagement with all of the campus has to offer. Next week is a really good time to engage with that question. So we're done with you. I have one more thing I want to say, which is that on behalf of our guests, everyone in Stritch Hall, everyone behind the wall, everyone at Lewis, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Yes, it's a little scary. I didn't used to have any of those gray hairs before I became a president, but now I have lots of them. So thank you, Chris, for that. So turning it over then to, we will be off next week, right? So because of all this stuff that's going on, we don't have time to come over here and do a show. So no show next week. 2 weeks from now, Brandy Yevtich is going to be here. She is our Sodexo manager, manages all the food services, all of that stuff. And she's going to be talking about some of the changes to the Gaffney Center, changes to the menu. We have some exciting announcements to make about some new things that are going on. And Chris and I we eat a lot of Sodexo food, Chris and I do. But the other night, we had a really great event.
Oh my gosh,
let me
yes.
just say,
It
in fact, it'll allow me to thank them when we had dinner, but to once again thank our health and counseling professionals here at Lewis. Over the last 2.5 years with COVID, not only the hotline team, but all of our professionals in health and counseling have done amazing work. We still have, we all face continuing, ongoing issues of physical health, mental health, spiritual awareness, all those things that we try to integrate into the health and counseling area. So thank you to that group. But the meal that night was
really
to die
good.
for. I mean, it's just so good. So thank you to the chef. Thank you to Brandy. We look forward to her being with us in 2 weeks to talk more about food and food service and how to get your food and apps and all of these other exciting things. So thank you to John, to our student producers behind the wall. We're excited. All of you travel safe as you come to campus in the next week. And think about how much you really want to bring. Sometimes people come with 2 vanfuls and the rooms are only a certain size. But we're really excited to have you join us in our community, and we will be here to welcome you next week. And then we'll be back in studio in 2 weeks. So have a wonderful week. Many blessings to you and your family.